Hey everyone, Hans here. Hope everyone's doing well. Enjoying the autumn morning, and while I was getting a lungful of fresh air, I was wondering, shouldn't I talk a bit more about tyrannical tricksters? Bit of alliteration there for you. So, what is a tyrannical trickster? Where to begin? Where to begin? I'm not even sure I'm gonna be able to manage it in the half hour I got, but I'm gonna try. So, tyrannical tricksters. I could just spill out a ton of names here and then just say they are doing nothing but bad stuff. They're being tyrannical. But that has been done before. And the results are meh. So what is perhaps more interesting, what hasn't been done before, as far as I'm aware, is their methods. Now, a tyrannical trickster, in my eyes, I always consider them pathetic human beings. They have no conscience. They have to go through life through deceit and live off the strength and creativity of others. That is something that I think binds most of these tyrants all together. They may be very intelligent talkers themselves, don't get me wrong. There is a certain cunning there, right? A high skill for being deceitful and deceptive. So very good at circumventing the perception of good people. The one thing that I tend to see when I look at tyrannical tricksters throughout history, and they're not just one individual, they're groups, usually, be it religious, political, um, yeah, just dogmatists of all kinds. The uh, the main trick they go by is they create problems and then offer solutions, which aren't even necessarily always solutions, and in all the chaos that follows, they profit. So, let's say you introduce a plague into the West. The Westmen, let's go with the example of Westmen. We are uh, faced with a plague, and the tyrannical trickster is the one who brought the plague in. The plague comes in. The tyrannical trickster sows confusion, uh, creates malcontent among the population, tries to get people to fight each other, but tries to particularly scare people. Be afraid, it will hurt you, you will get sick, you will die. And people will actually get sick and die. So he's not necessarily lying. Still, he's the one responsible for it all happening. But here it comes. There's gonna be people who say, no, tyrannical trickster, you're full of it. I question your motives in all of this. I'm actually pretty certain you are causal to all these deaths and sicknesses. And then a lot of Westmen who are scared shitless, as they say, are gonna go to those who are questioning the tyrant and say, no, no, you're just trying to hurt people. In their fear, not thinking clearly. You're just preventing that that tyrants. Well, of course they think he's some wonderful person or some such. You think it's all your fault. You don't want to comply to the rules that will keep us healthy. You may even want to see people dead, don't you? That's how it goes, right? And now Westmen are fighting each other. The tyrant, in the meantime, is just laughing his ass off because he or she or them, they're going to be left behind. That is to say, left behind. They're going to be left alone. They can just continue as they will, with a bit of criticism here and there. But they can brush that off, right? And here it comes. The tyrannical trickster will go to the population, and you'll have scenarios like, hey, pretty Western girl, if you want medicine for your family, then the tyrannical trickster is going to perhaps give that pretty girl some propositions, right? Think I don't need to paint more of a picture there. Or the tyrannical trickster may go to Westman and say, hey, you need to give more money to me now, so we can invest it in more medicine distribution. And if you do not comply with that, I'm gonna send all these scared Westmen after you. That's what the tyrannical trickster would say, right? And unfortunately, that seems to be working quite well thus far in history. What else would a tyrannical trickster do? Oh yeah, of course, and then get that money, which happens a lot. And then of course just spend it on a new palace, or whatever it's going to be, right? Maybe send some of it to these distributions to not be a complete liar, you know? Are there other such things? Well, whatever the case. And the medicine itself, and here is for the particularly tricksy tyrants. What if the medicine isn't even real medicine? What if it's just a pacifier, if you will? It's like with a toddler, you know? Toddler falls, hurts his or her knee, and then you'll have these people who give the toddler like a cup of water. If you drink this, you'll magically feel better. And the toddler gets up after drinking some of it. It's like, oh yeah, it's all right. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't outgrow that. So then when they are presented with, what is actually non-medicine, could actually even be poison. Who knows? I mean, that doesn't happen anymore today, right? That's not a thing anymore. That's something of the past. Yeah. Again, do I need to paint the picture further? Don't think so. You're intelligent enough to figure it out. So, tyrannical tricksters and their methods. And then how they get their whatever it is that they want out of society. Create a problem. Make people desperate, confused, fearful. Have them fight each other a little bit. And then, have power in whatever way they want it for themselves. It's actually kind of simple when you look at it that way, right? And that is perhaps why I'm sharing it most of all this video is, if you look at it from that simple point, and then you just look at societal issues, then you just have to follow back to where it comes from. How has it happened? Let's say a plague comes into the country. Well, how did the plague come in? Were the borders opened? When that when that plague was somewhere else in the world, when it came to be known that it was a thing, and who was in possession then of the border control, right? Could it have been that people came in, or how shall I put it? I mean, that kind of goes hand in hand with these borders, right? Could it be that a certain group of people developed that plague, could be by accident, and then didn't contain it? How did that happen? Who was attached to that? Etc. 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 Also a big one is, of course, you can follow it through who is profiting. Profiting through, I'm not just talking about money, right? I'm talking about societal control. Who is profiting? Which organized religions? Which political groups? Which people behind all these organizations? Maybe, if you can find it out. And don't just go to randomly, please, for those who have such a nasty habit of just jumping to conclusions. No, you need to have the individuals themselves involved. There is no point in just throwing wild statements out there of, oh, it's this group or it's that group. It's better to have names and faces, because that's the one thing tyrannical tricksters dislike, is to be found out. Groups of tyrannical tricksters will stab each other in the back in a heartbeat. That is to say, if one of them is found out by the population, if you will, for doing something really heinous, suddenly that person, whoosh, out of the picture. What does that tell you? It tells you that they do not like it if you follow the string to where it all originates from. That they're actually, what shall one call it, a little bit nervous. Because who knows, they themselves will be found out. So yeah, but seeing, looking at the basic ways how they how they go operate, if you will, is a very good start. And then they can do whatever they want, so long as you can see the pattern and then follow the string. I cannot really tell you how to do it myself. That is, I leave that for people who have more knowledge about such. But then at the very minimum, you're always warned as an individual. If you can see the pattern, that is a start. It has to always start from the self. And then you start reaching out to others. There is also, you know what, I'm going to leave it there as far as the tyrannical tricksters go. Yeah. I even did it in about 13 minutes, pretty good. If I say so myself. But I'm gonna, is there something else I want to get into real quick? Well, real quick. I have another 10 minutes, I think. I just came up with something and it fled my mind. Dang it. Give me a moment, guys. Just enjoy the greenery behind me, I suppose. Oh, maybe this is a helpful one too. When it comes to language, if you want to warn people about something that is going wrong, don't go absolutely ballistic and throw everything you know at someone. That is not how you convince. Yeah, maybe this is an important addition, and I will make a separate video on it too, but I want to, repetition is good sometimes, even for myself. It's that if people, how shall I put this? If, in terms of language, you can, if you want to convince someone, it has to be emotional in the beginning. That's how you convince people. Anti-whites know this. You convince people through emotion. And this is a mistake that well-intentioned people have been making for a long time. They come at people with facts. And the fact may be that such and so have heard this or that West man, and so have destroyed that part of an ancient forest in Russia or Europe or what have you. Things we do not like. But without the emotional incentive that creates interest, you're not gonna you're not gonna appeal to anyone. So rather than say such and so have done this to that Westman, it's more like they true you go into the detail you have to be able to make people feel what those that were hurt were going through. I think that's the best way of putting it. Because if you just say, yeah, this person got hurt, a lot of regular folks out there, they're just gonna be like, well, yeah, but it's not my problem. Contrary to when you basically say the exact same thing, but it's like, yeah, they strung him up by the hands and then they beat him with sticks or something. Suddenly that paints a far more vivid image. Cold logic is for those who are already convinced, if you will. It is for if you're an anti-white, it's just lying upon lie upon lie upon lie. But we, people that are white positive, we deal with truth. So facts are useful in creating resolve, in strengthening those that have already decided, yeah, I'm gonna stand up for what is good, for what is right. Maybe that needs an example. It's, I'll use myself as an example. Before I understood white well-being as I do now, I wanted to do the right thing. I wanted to help people. I still do. And I was reaching out. I was reaching out to people like, hey, can anyone give me some direction here? Where do I go? What do I look up? And there have been those that tried to convince me with cold facts. But I wasn't emotionally invested. A good example was something that relates to the 20th century, where someone was trying to tell me that in the 20th century, basically, the people that were depicted as the bad guys weren't as bad as they are depicted as in mainstream society. And I was disinterested. I'm just like, dude, what the hell? And all these look at these conflicts of the 20th century. No, you're not convincing me with any of that. Same person comes back to me a few months later. Here, I have something for you, he says. I was polite. I wasn't interested in his point, but still willing to listen, see what he had to say. It's like, okay, but it's gonna be the same as last time. Just know already, you're gonna waste both our time, right? And he said, no. Here, remember when I spoke about this and spoke about that? And I'm like, okay, yeah. Here. Shows me. I have what do they call it? I have thick skin and a strong stomach. I can take a hit, if you will. So he showed some graphic stuff. Now I was interested instantly. I do not recommend going brutal with people either. I know I can handle it fairly well. Of course it makes me emotional, but that was his point, right? That was a clever bit of him. Because now I wasn't interested, now I was invested. It's like, wow, these people must have really suffered. Good people, probably, doing the right thing. Just in a conflict they didn't even necessarily want to be in. And depicted as monsters. Afterwards. Sounds familiar, white man? Think so. So yeah. So I got into it a bit more. Up to a point, it strengthened my resolve. And that I wanted to do more for people. And then after that he could come with a cold logic, but because I had that initial emotional kickstart, if you will, now he could come at me with a cold logic and I'd be like, yeah, okay. Mm. And sometimes I would still ask him, it's like, can you give me a bit more though? Because I'm not feeling I'm not feeling it. Feelings are important, actually. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. But it's the combination of feeling and logic. Don't fall for that damned false dichotomy where it's either logic or feeling. No, it has to be both. I think that's what I want to get at in the end. But I wanted to share that with people. Emotions are for those you have yet to convince. Hard logic is for those that are already convinced and you want to strengthen their resolve. Make them really want to do well by our people and make them understand that certain atrocities will come back to haunt us, committed against our people, our race, if you will. If we if we do not do right, and we can do right, we will do right. It will not be as bad anymore. That takes work though. If you want right in the world, you have to make right in the world. It's that simple. And that is a responsibility we all carry together. So, I think that's what I wanted to share for now. Tyrannical tricksters, helping, I suppose it's my little contribution to that conversation. I hope it helps people see patterns in the future in society, or maybe stuff that's going on right now already, or has been going on for a while already. You never know what good it may do for yourself or those of others that you care about. And as far as emotion, make a compelling story for for those you want to convince, and the hard facts, as that is what most well-intentioned people have been sharing in the white positive sphere, are for after that. A little something from me. I hope it's been helpful. I'm gonna go for a bit more of a walk, I think, and you all have a good one. Maybe one last extra word. Better times are ahead. I'm seeing more people get better. I truly do. And it isn't in public, it isn't on camera. But if you happen to listen to my videos regularly, to this one, know it's not just you, it's not just me, it's not just the both of us. There's many good people out there who want to do the right thing, who are doing the right thing. And there is a lot of charlatans, narcissists, sociopaths. I haven't yet met a psycho, and I hope it stays that way, but we'll see, I suppose. Who are being, invited to go. The baddies are leaving the field. It's a good start, isn't it? So hold on, stay the course, do the right thing, and do your part. You'll be thanking yourself a week from now, month from now, year from now. You will. So make it a good one. And you have all a good one too. Bye bye.